welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate. This is our Star Wars Unlimited podcast, and tonight I am your host, and we are going to be breaking down the Curio Cavern 1K. We're going to talk a little bit about hey man, that's too much. We got another card that we want to talk to you about how you can find another replacement for some of these expensive legendaries. And then on top of that, what we're going to do is we're going to be talking all the new spoilers with Padme and Dooku, because I think they might make a splash. We'll see. Joining me tonight on mic is my co-host JJ. Your hat still sucks, and so do the Giants. How are you tonight, sir?
It's all right, man. We had a better game today. Unfortunately, we lost because it turns out that if you don't have a kicker, you can't score points after touchdowns, which is ridiculous that we lost to 7 field goals. So, like, yeah, it is what it is, man. Yeah.
Yep. They get paid millions of dollars, but hey, I think you could do is you could take them, you could put your wife on the field and be like, I think your wife could kick better than some of these people. Anyway, enough sports talk. I don't have much sports talk in me this week. I got to play a little bit of SWU this weekend. I've been jamming a deck that I feel is like drastically underrated. One of the decks that I've always wanted to work was Hondo, and I've been playing some Hondo Blue, kind of similar-ish style to Kira, but not in the vein that where Kira can be very consistent and dominating. Hondo just says, hey, how do I build up my units to say middle finger to you? I'm going to just swing. Having an 8/8 Chilson, I will tell you, is super awesome. Oh, you want to kill Chilson? Let me just add another experience token onto him. Yeah, I had one turn where I had a Chilson out, flipped, and then was able to bring Hondo out, and then I was able to play 2 cards from I had 2 covert strengths in there that I got to play from my thing for 6 resources. I healed Chilson for 4 and handed out 4 more experience on top of that. It was just stupid. It was just like my opponent goes, really? And I was like, sorry, like this almost never happens. Like that just never happens. But I've loved Hondo in the TV show. And so if anybody has a cheap Hondo showcase they want to sell me or trade, maybe, I don't know. Like, I'll tell you what, I have a Jabba showcase that I'll happily trade if you have a Hondo and if you have a Hondo and a Hunter showcase. I would take 2 of those for my Jabba showcase because I really want to have that that Hondo showcase just because I think it looks pretty, and I think Hunter is going to be good next set, so I'm going to be playing Hunter whether he's good next set or not. How about that? So anyway, hopefully you've had some good times this weekend. I played some SWU. What are you jamming recently?
Oh man, I've been going back to just tinker more with Tarkin Yellow again. Just really love that deck. That deck has a lot of different options out there for you going out and just basically upping up your units on there. One of my favorite things to do as of late is to include the Jawa Scavengers to take out some of your non-smuggle cards and swap them out for like later on in the game. That's been really good, especially if I need to put in there like a finalizer or like a Blizzard AT-AT that I can like pull out later on when I have more resources. That's been really fun to just pop in there. So
awesome. Well, why don't we jump into our That's Too Much Man segment and talk about what is the expensive card this week that we want to have you trade out.
That's too much, man.
Welcome to our That's Too Much Man segment. We're going to have a conversation about Avenger tonight. Avenger's actually dropped when we first originally planned this. Avenger was up, and it has it's been in our pockets around the $32 mark, and then it kind of dropped to the 28, and now all of a sudden it's down. It's just down crazy to 24, which I think that's good. I think that's good, right? Like let's let's get some of these legendaries down. But the reason we wanted to do that tonight is because this is a main capital ship. If you're playing in a blue build, typically if you're playing in an only blue build, a couple of these cards aren't going to work for you, but most of the time Avengers ran in like a green blue build. So we kind of thought, hey, if you don't want to spend the money on Avenger, there's a lot of other things. So Avenger is an Imperial vehicle capital ship. It is a 9 resource 8/8. When played and on attack, an opponent chooses a non-leader, which by the way is very important. Because I tried to use it against a leader one time and I was like, why isn't it going away? And they're like, oh, it's because it's a leader. And I was like, shoot, I did not know that. But an opponent chooses a non-leader unit they control and they get to defeat that unit. Now, you can't like have a leader on the field and then like not choose another unit. You have to choose another unit. It's not a catch-all to just stop all of that. But it is a fun little ship, and we thought, hey, why not find something that is a good alternative? So JJ, what was the first one that you had?
So the first one we have here is the Devastator. Now, it is coming in a little more expensive than Avenger, coming in at 10 resources. It is a green and villainy aspect here, coming in at 10/10. It is a Sentinel, and it has Overwhelm. And when it is played, you deal damage to a unit equal to the number of resources you control. So assuming that you pay 10 resources for this, and you control exactly 10 resources for this unit, you have a very similar effect to Avenger, except you are the one actually controlling who you're dealing the damage to, which is absolutely great. This is really good for taking out some of those late game units like Maul or Emperor Palpatine that controls that can come out and do a lot of damage out there, or some of the other AT-ATs that can come out there. Devastator can come in and boom, just knock that out there. This is a ship that you probably want to hold in your hand until you have a decent target to go in there. But it does also have Overwhelm. So if you get it in there, if you manage to use Timely Intervention along with this card and slam it into a very low health ship that's in the defending space zone, you can Overwhelm and deal that additional damage right into the base right off the bat as soon as it comes in. So that's a great option for you if you're looking to replace Avenger on there.
Yep, and because the idea, right, is like with timely intervention, it acts as like a double action, right? You know, like that. The big thing with it is Avenger does this every turn. Some of these do not do it every turn, and I think that again that's why you have a specific legendary. But with timely intervention, Devastator can take 2 units off the board, and then typically, if you have anything in space, it can't handle it. So there's that. The next one that we wanted to do is an AT suppressor. The reason we chose that because it exhausts all ground units. Not exactly the same in the aspect of, hey, you're going to defeat a unit, but it does basically, if you play that, it stops that whole churn. Again, timely intervention, it comes in at 9, same cost, right? You could timely intervention this stupid thing in, exhaust all the units, and then just go and ambush and take out whatever they have, like as their sentinel, or if they have like a bigger unit you don't want them to be able to swing into, and this thing's still going to live, right? You know, so like, you could do a couple of different things with it, right? JJ, what's the next one?
The next one we have here is the 8-cost Blizzard Assault AT-AT that comes in at 9 health and 9 attack. It reads, when this unit attacks and defeats a unit, you may deal the excess damage from this attack to an enemy ground unit. So it is essentially an Overwhelm, except that it's going to another ground unit for that excess damage. So this helps you clear the path to wipe out your opponent's ground forces on there. So that's really good, especially if you have a unit that has like that's hiding behind a sentinel unit. You can essentially go into that sentinel unit and deal all that excess damage into the other unit that's hiding behind there. This could potentially help you save your game. If you're falling behind on the damage race, you can help take out those attackers that are deployed on your opponent's side, and hopefully swing the game in your favor. So yeah.
Yeah, and this is a rather criminally underrated card, in my opinion, only for the pure fact, now that we have timely intervention, right? You could play this in timely in one turn, and for the exact same cost as Avenger, and it kills 2 units, and you get to pick the units, whereas with Avenger they don't get to pick the units. You can timely out also an Avenger, right? Like, and it makes them forced to pick 2 units as well, because you're doing an ambush attack as well as a normal when played. But that's the nice thing about this Blizzard is it only does it to ground units, so you are not going to get the ship effect, and that's kind of the difference if they don't have a lot of ground units. But typically, more or less they have more ground units than other units. And yeah, especially if you have like an echo based defender, it hits like whatever. Thank God this thing doesn't have overwhelm. Yeah, like it would just be stupid broken. The last one is not really a replacement, but it is something you can use in combination with other units, right? And the reason I say this is because Piat is a very cheap Imperial officer, and he basically lets anything that costs 6 or more come out with ambush. So you could play Piat, and then he doesn't have to be ready. This is not an action. This is just a static effect. And he can literally just say, boom, here you go, Blizzard AT. Now you're going to be able to just do your ambush effect when you get played, and you don't even have to use timely. You don't have to do any of these other things. So he's really good at getting other units. And really, if you think about it, that's kind of what Avenger does, right? And so really Admiral Piat paired with other units, and this is a variety, like a huge variety of other units. For example, Palpatine. I always talk about Palpatine, but Palp unit, right? When played, it does 6 damage across the board to whatever you want it to. If you have Admiral Piat out, you can ambush it, and so then and then that thing has overwhelm as well. But that you can ambush that out, kill a unit on the other side, and it's just really good. So Admiral Piat is kind of what I would call like the contingent piece. So if you want to play some of these cheaper units, like either the AT-ATs, there's the reinforcement walker, which helps you heal. You get that ambush effect, and with that ambush effect, yes, it does not technically affect the sky, but it does affect any of these larger ground units. Now you can use Admiral Piat again with a larger like sky unit, but usually once you're getting up there, you're getting into Devastator and all these other things. So it's a little bit different, but you can use that with like a Gladiator, for example. That's a 6 cost, and it gains ambush, and then you can name something a Sentinel, so you can ambush it in and then put, I don't know, Piat as a Sentinel, or if you have Pelp, you can throw Palpatine as a Sentinel, whatever you want to do. So Admiral Piat is kind of when paired with something that costs 6 or more, similar-ish to what you would get with the Avenger. So
yeah.
Either which way, that is our That's Too Much Man segment. Hope these segments help you. Let us know, like in the comments, do you like these segments? Do you think they're dumb? We don't have to do them. We could do them. We don't have to do them, but I like them. I think they're fun, and I like saying That's Too Much Man because it makes Alex cringe every single time I say it. And if you don't know why, you should go watch BoJack Horseman, which is actually one of my all-time favorite shows ever is BoJack Horseman. I think the nuance to that show is just amazing. I don't think JJ's ever watched that show, so.
No, I have, yes.
But anyway, that's kind of that's our fun segment. That's like, I like to kick the show off with that. That's our for fun idea. What I want to do next is we're going to go through our Chaos of War, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Curio Cavern. I think that's how you say it, Curio Cavern. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be talking a little bit about their top cut. We're going to go over the list to some extent. These are meta lists that you've been seeing. And then we're going to have a small discussion a little bit about what we feel that we've kind of been seeing, and talk a little bit about how you could prepare for some of these upcoming tournaments. Welcome to our Chaos of War. This week, we are going to be going over the Curio. Is it Curio Cabinet or Curio Cabinet?
I want to think of it as like cabinetry. So yeah, Curio Cavern.
All right. So I'm going to put that in here so I don't forget. Curio Cavern 1K. They posted these lists on Facebook, and what we want to do is kind of go through a little bit of the top. We are not going to go through, like I said, every single one of the lists in extreme detail, because these are lists that we've been seeing. But here is essentially, I don't know if the guy's name is Kevin pseudonym, but here we have, it's Brian M. There we go. Here we have first place taken by Akira ECL. Kira is one of the lists that I projected would be one of the top lists. Alex doesn't like Kira that much. I think Kira is super fun to play, and is this list is pretty similar to the list that Wu had been running, with a little bit of difference. So we'll go over it real quick. We got the ECL base, and we get 3 High Balloon Enforcers, 3 Timelies, 3 of the Infernal 4, 3 Pikes, 3 Power of the Dark Side, which I think you just have to include if you're running blue green. 2 of the Consortium Star Vipers, and I'll come back to that. Remind me, JJ, we'll come back to that. 2 Resupply, 3 Death Troopers, 3 Super Laser Techs, 2 Black Sun Enforcers, 2 Vigilance, 2 Lom Pikes, 2 Fell the Dragons, 2 Gideons, 1 Rook, which that's interesting, because that's a main deck Rook. 3 Overwhelms, 1 Palpatine's Return, 3 Vaders, 1 SLB. Then we have 2 Snokes, 2 Avengers, which we talked about, which you could replace it a few minutes ago, 1 Relentless, and 1 Devastator. The sideboard, which is geared a little bit more towards healing, is 3 of the top targets, 1 of the Star Vipers, 1 of the Vigilances, 1 more Rook, 1 more Pelp, 1 more Super Laser Blast, 1 more Relentless, and 1 more Devastator. So the first thing I'm going to say is, to me, I would just run 2 Devastators and sideboard my Relentless, or vice versa. Like, I don't know, like pick a lane. That drives me nuts having the 1 of each. But I know JJ just loves that. You missed last week. I think the 1 of the Rook, instead, because a lot of times they're running 1 Maul. 1 of the Rook is kind of in place, and the way ECL works with Rook, right, is it comes in and you could choose how you want to ambush it, because basically it defeats whatever, and then you could shield it after that, or you could shield it first so it takes 0 damage, and then do those things. It's very niche. I like it. I actually think Gideon is less of a benefit in this, but you can ECL out Gideon as well, right? And then Gideon can buff something else that you have on the table. I have ECL'd out a Gideon after I have Kira on the board, and then just giving Kira the, or killed something and been able to give Gideon like that, the experience token. So this is the Vipers are a little bit different. Wu was not running Vipers originally, I don't believe, in his version, and the Vipers are there, and I use them all the time to ECL out against a Han or a Sabine that thinks it's super fun to put an A-Wing down early. I'll just claim if I don't have a Power of the Dark Side, and I'll ECL that stupid thing out and just kill it. Just kill the A-Wing before it can even do damage. And then you still live. Then you still have a 3/3 with 1 damage on it. And then you can't shield it with Kira, but you can do dirty things with it.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, you got a significant amount of ramp in here to try to build up to your bigger game closers, right? You got Vader in there, Snoke in there, and then of course, the 3 capital ships that are in there. Those are like, end game pieces there that Kira just absolutely needs in there to finish off games, as they deal a mass amount of damage on there. And you got enough Sentinels in this deck where you can help delay until that final turn, and do what you need to do on there. I do like the combo with Rook with Kira, because you can essentially do it 3 times, right? The first time that Rook comes out, you attack with it. It loses a shield, kills whatever it hits, and then you can cure it. It loses 2 health, and then you can rinse and repeat up to 2 times before Rook can no longer take Kira's ability. But that's really great. And then when you factor in Palpatine's Return, if you absolutely still need that piece, you can bring it back in. At that point, you're probably bringing in Snoke. You're bringing in all your other big capital ships in there, and that's the game closer there. Snoke being that absolute monster of a game control piece for blue. for blue villainy is absolutely great in helping control the board and making it difficult for your opponent to mount a significant amount of offensive effort to take out your base or even take out Snoke. And when you put in Kira to factor in and give Snoke that extra shield, it just makes it that much more difficult. So, yeah, definitely a great list, and congrats on the top placement there.
Yep, and the big thing you're not seeing here is usually this list runs 3 phase troopers. They obviously pulled the phase troopers out, like, and I think the timelies. I'm assuming the timely are like kind of your replacement, and that which again makes sense, right? Because it gives you extra ECLs, and like again, Alam Pike, for example, can be ECL'd out, and this all that fancy jazz. And then it gives a shield to something else, gets a shield, does the same thing that Rook does, just better. And Lam can be smuggled. I think the big difference with this list here is it's also missing make an opening. They're using the Pelt Return instead of the make an opening. I'm not sold on that. I still think make an opening is actually some at least should be sideboarded in this deck.
Yeah.
And that's especially going against Han Blue. It just is. That's just really good. But
yeah.
All right. Our second place, JJ. What is second place? Ryan came up with a Pelp Green, which looks almost identical, I think, to the one we were looking at before.
You mean Boba Green? Yeah.
Boba Green. What did I say? Pelp Green?
You said Pelp Green. Yeah.
Well, that's what you. That's
you got
what
Pelp
you
in the mind.
get. Yeah, that's what you get when you talk about Pelp's return. Yeah, I know. You know me. You put too many Pelps in my bucket.
All right, so we got Boba Green here coming in with 2 copies of Greedo, 2 copies of Salacious, 2 Hotshot Blasters, 3 copies of McClunky, 2 V-Wings, 2 No Good For Me Dead event cards, 2 Bazines, 2 Cloud Riders, 2 Boba Fett's armors, 3 resupplies, 3 7th Fleet Defenders, 3 Super Laser Technicians, 3 Cop Vans, 2 Toro Calicans, 3 Overwhelming Barrage, 2 copies of Boss, 3 Fett Fire Sprays, 3 Darth Vaders, and 3 copies of Maul, and 2 Reinforcement Walkers. And on the sideboard, we got 2 copies of Confiscate, 1 additional Boba Fett armor, 2 Waylays, 1 Syndicate and Lackey, 2 additional copies of Palpatine's Return, and 2 I can't even read that. But
choose your sides.
Yeah,
choose
your sides. Yeah, there you go. That's the swap one. So yeah, definitely a really solid list here. It actually has quite a bit of ramp on here with that resupplying super laser tech, something that we don't normally see with Boba Fett on there. But it's pretty good. Boba Fett is able to consistently kill units with these different cards on there, and then uses his ability to ready resources that lets you play additional actions on here. It is really, really great, actually, especially when you start factoring the early combo there with like Salacious Crumb and then Greedo, and then bringing out McClunky to bring him back into your hand and deal damage that way. Really helps that early game in controlling the board state as you're constantly pushing out damage onto enemy units on there. And then you could just finish off the game with all your big hitters. It's definitely a really interesting list for sure. Something that we're not seeing quite so often with Boba Fett, but this deck really helps constantly get those extra resources to play additional cards in your hand there. It's pretty solid, like a lot.
So the question I have, right, is I guess it's not a question specifically geared towards that. You have the Bazines are good. I think the Bazines are good. The big difference here is you have the V-Wings is that's unique. We've not seen a V-Wing come back. So I'm surprised by that. I'm surprised by that in the aspect that it's there, but I'm not surprised because you can use it as a card draw. So it's a very good turn one. Hey, I don't really have anything to play a lot. I mulligan, but I got this card and I could still play this thing, and I get another card off it. It also, and don't get me wrong, that also can be a very good card to be able to play down, to give yourself the ability to draw a card on Boba's flip turn, right? So you can play this for 2 resources. You get a card. You might not have Boba Fett's armor. Now this helps you draw, like like mull through your deck. And it's a 1/1. Other than that, it's really, I think it's a little overcosted in my opinion. But I don't understand the Bosk in there, other than, I mean, it's a 4/5 with ambush, which I guess is a little bit better than the 4-lom at a 4/4, but I would almost rather have a 4-lom because I can ambush in with 4-lom.
So
like,
I mean, what I like with Bosk in this list is mainly because of McClunky, right? If you happen to have another unit that you can pull out of there, like let's say you get a Salacious Crumb in there, you just pull it out with McClunky. You're dealing 2 damage with Bosk, and then you're dealing 3 additional damage with McClunky by putting a card back into your hand. And
all right.
it's I know it's a very specific like combo that has to happen in that particular case, but it also works with no good to me dead, right? It works with any of these event cards, or same thing with like Overwhelming Barrage. That's just additional way to get damage there and to control the board early on, just so you can delay and get in Fet's Fire Spray, get Invader and Maul. It just helps clear the board until you could get those other units out and finish off your opponent.
And that's, again, and I think that's fair. Obviously Cobb Vanth is in here because you have a lot smaller of units that you have, especially you could play Cobb, discard that V-Wing, get it, play it for free, get another card. It's that's a very combo-y play. The reason I say this for Bosk, and this is because if you use the Bosk and the Toro combo, right? Like, so you play Toro down, next turn you want to ambush Bosk out, something crazy along those lines. Like, you can actually have a really big flip turn. The problem is you can swing with Toro, activate, bring Bosk in, give it a damage. But when you're ambushing in, the reason you pay 5 is because you get the extra health, right? You're getting 1 extra health, and then you get that extra thing. You typically don't have enough resources to play the McClunky or something else along with Bosk. And like, once you hit 6 resources, you should be playing Fet's Fire Spray, right? Or this and that. So it's to me, it just feels a little bit weird. Maybe it works very well and we just don't know. I'm excited to not see waylays in this list. Like, this would be like the list that you would sit down across from and they don't play a waylay, and you got to sit there and wonder, do they got waylays? Do they not got waylays? Right.
Yep.
So I think for me, I think the bigger thing would be, I think to me, Bosk is questionable. And I feel personally, I feel like that's kind of a little bit more of an iffy McClunky style play. And maybe Bosk belongs to the sideboard. And you bring in, maybe you bring in 4-lom or something like that. I don't know. It feels a little weird to me in there, but they did very well. They came in second place. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right, third place, we have Akira. This is a little bit more of the standard ECL Kira. We're not going to go over the whole list again. This one has Phase Troopers in it, right? So here's your Phase Troopers. Here's your Make an Opening, and here's your Maul. That's kind of the bigger difference between them. This one also has reinforcement walkers, right? Where this one had no reinforcement walkers, so it's not looking for any heal. This one is like straight damage, and you rely on vigilance for your heals. This one is going to wants to live a little bit longer, have a little bit more heal ratio to it. One less capital ship. But other than that, it's a very similar-ish list. I do think it's sad there's no Star Vipers in here, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
But it does make sense. Like, you still have the Black Sun Fighters to stop. You're just a little space light. Is what this feels like. Whereas when we go back up to the first place one, I'm space light in here. Oh no, I'm not, because I got those, right. So whereas you would normally say this feels space light, this one's not.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's all we're going to cover. I don't want to go through the whole list a second time. All right. So now we're going to move on. This is a Boba Yellow. There was a lot of Boba Yellow in the top cut, by the way. So we'll go through this one. They are using the incorrect base. So Matthew, shame on you for using Chopper's base. Like, why? Chopper's base. But this is a Boba Yellow deck. This is 3 Greedos, 1 Shoot First, 3 Hot Shots, 1 Cartel, 3 No Good to Me Deads, 3 Crafties, 2 of the Viper Probe Droids, 2 New Adventures, 3 Surprise Strikes, 3 Mercenary Gunships, 2 Bobas, 3, which is funny, that's only got 2 Bobas, 3 of the 7th Fleet Defenders, 3 Waylay, 3 Toros, 3 Cunning, 3 Forlum, 3 Cantinas, 3 Zuckus, and we have 3 Fet's Fire Spray. So this one's going very, very aggressive aggro. Your sideboard adds 1 more of the Cartel Spacers, and again, I don't know why we have 1 in there to begin with. Let's just replace it with something else. 3 Bodies, which again, I don't believe Bodhi should ever be sideboarded. Bodhi should just be a bloody main deck.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. 3 TIE Phantoms, 1 Relentless Pursuit, 1 Syndicate Lackey, and 1 Change of Heart.
Yeah, definitely really strong. I mean, this definitely comes in swinging in with some damages there. I do love the outer aspect of Hotshot DL44 Blaster that you can.
It's not out of aspect.
For red,
it's smuggle yellow. That's why.
Right. Yeah.
That's why it's
like,
in here.
If you smuggle it and then you get that additional ability, right?
Yes.
To essentially when you attach it, it goes in there. But it just at face, right? It's just out of the aspect there. But yeah, it's really strong, right? It feels like a stronger version of Timely Intervention. Just because you're able to get that additional 2 attack power and then just force somebody to attack that you already have to play on the board there. Definitely really good with some of these stronger units on there. But yeah, very solid deck. And yeah, you can definitely see how Boba Fett, he has different ways to play him, and he's always good. Yeah.
Yep. So this is your bounty hunter standardized deck. It's funny, we only got 2 Boba Fett's in here, so people must not like the Boba Fett as much.
Yeah.
5th place is another Boba Yellow. This one a little bit better of a base. Where's my Jabba base is what I want to know. This one did not have the Boba Fett's armor in here, which I found kind of, it's not even in the sideboard. So this one, like I said, I feel this one's a little bit more aggro than this one is. And this one, JJ, I don't know. Why don't you read there's a couple of differences in this one. This one at least has Bodhi main board. I like that.
Yeah, so the biggest difference here, we got 3 copies of Dr. Evazon in here. We got 3 Surprise Strikes in here. Bodhi, 3 copies of that one being main deck, as well as 3 copies of the Lurky TIE Phantom. And then we got copies of Forlom and Zuckus, 3 copies apiece. And then a Return to the Cantina Bouncer, which is so great in mono yellow Boba. Just triggers the ability for Boba as soon as you play it. It's fantastic. I like it a lot. And then on the sideboard, we got the Xanadu Blood copy of just 1 on there, which is kind of odd to just have 1, but still really good. And then of course, Crafty Smugglers, the 7th Fleet there, the Relentless Pursuit, and then a New Adventure, just 2 copies up there just to adjust to whatever you need to on there. A little less bounty hunter heavy, a lot more utility, I would say, but overall still a very strong Boba deck.
Yeah, this one feels a little bit more closer to what I would consider closer to like a more mid-range or toolbox feel.
Yeah.
For the pure fact that like its beginning plays are not going for the same thing. It is leaning quite heavily into Toro, whereas like this one leans heavily into Toro as well. This one leans into Toro in the aspect of that's where the like your main things are, right? You know, and then you have the Boba Fett's armor to build Boba Fett up. So the Xanadu Blood, JJ, is actually like when we talk about one-ofs, right? I feel like that is one of the better like one-ofs, and that's because when you play it or on attack, you may return another friendly non-leader underworld unit to its owner's hand if you do exhaust an enemy unit or resource. So if you're playing against control, this can kind of come in and you could pick up one of your other units that have already swung or something like that. I will tell you it's very gimmicky and I don't think it works very well, but if you can maintain a board state and you have Toro and let's say another bounty hunter out there and Xanadu Blood can swing, pick up your other bounty hunter, and then you have that again to be able to play it the next turn and get double value out of Toro, right? And that's, again, it's very niche and it's I don't care what anyone. It's not as good as this Fet's Fire. This Fet's Fire Spray. It's just like that's the problem. Is Fet's Fire Spray just outclasses Xanadu Blood. But Xanadu Blood is a 6/6 when it hits. So it's in my opinion, it is a very good ship, and I think that's one of, I don't know, maybe we should start like a segment where we talk about underrated things, because I feel like that one gets a little bit underrated. So. All right, the last deck that we're going to go over before, and then what we'll do is we'll just have a slight conversation around, different deck styles and things like that, and what to expect, because I feel like we're moving into a little bit more of a control meta, right? And that's that's a conversation we need to be having, because maybe Sabine's time has got up. I don't know, but this one is a Krennic green, so yeah, somebody like. How many of the like all of it is yellow, yellow, blue, green.
Yeah.
It's all villain blue, green. So we have a Krennic or Kylo. Well, we don't have Kylo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Poor Kylo. He never had a chance.
Yeah. I know. Nobody's running Kylo. So this one real quick is a Krennic list. So basically once your unit becomes damaged, it gets like an extra attack value. Which actually is really good with some of your Sentinel type things. Like, can you imagine that phase 3 trooper, you don't kill it, and guess what? Now it's a 4/4. Oh, and it's a 5/4. And then the next turn, you better kill that, because if not, it's just going to keep getting bigger. But we have 3 Infernal 4s. We have 3 of the Pike Sentinels, 2 Gamorrean Guards, 3 Power of the Dark Sides, 3 Consortium Star Vipers, 3 Resupply, 3 of the Death Troopers, 3 phase 3 Troopers, 3 of the Super Laser Techs, 2 Takedown, 2 Loms, 2 Fell, 2 Gideons, 3 Overwhelms, 2 of the Steadfast Battalions, only 1 Cargo Juggernaut, though I like the Cargo Juggernaut ad, 3 Vaders, 1 Super Laser Blast, 2 Reinforcement Walkers, 2 Snokes, and 2 Avengers. On my sideboard, I have 3 Top Target, 3 Make an Opening, 2 Pelpies, and 1 Relentless and 1 Devastator. Again, this runs a little bit different than a Kira deck. Obviously, you're trying to get your units to survive a little bit longer. In this deck, the ECL can hit everything, and like that Cargo Juggernaut, when you have like a Gideon or a Lon Pike or a Death Trooper on the board, being able to ECL that stupid Cargo Juggernaut in, it kills the shield, does 4 damage to something, and then on top of that, you now get to heal 4 damage off your base. Super good. This is the original Kira style deck, right? That we've been seeing. So like if you played in set 1 meta, this was like, some of these are newer cards, but this is a big staple in set 1. And it's not surprising to see my top end is Reinforcement Walker, Snoke, and Avenger, because they're like, we don't need to go space. We're just gonna do this. Sad day for the Mauls in this group, but
yeah.
Overall, I think this is a good deck. The Cargo Juggernaut, it's only a 1 of, and only having 1 SLB and not having any in the sideboard, that's scary to me.
Yeah.
You'll notice the one thing that's also absent is Rival's Fall. I think that's kind of scary as well. I think Pelp's Return is just so good, but like, I don't know. Like, it's only good against when somebody starts milling your deck, or if you're specifically playing something where you're ambushing things in and killing them. I don't know.
Yeah, I do agree with you with the Rival's Fall not having on there, and just having Fell the Dragon instead is a choice. I get that. Rival's Fall is 1 more expensive than Fell the Dragon, but you can target any unit, including a leader unit on there. There's pros and cons to both on there. I mean, it is being supplemented with Power of the Dark Side to at least help, destroy some units on there. The biggest issue is just, you're giving more agency to your opponent to choose who they want to discard on there. And if they have multiple targets available, then it kind of lowers the power level of that. Takedown is there as well. Kind of like the opposite side of Fell the Dragon. But again, it's like you're committing these resources for these events on there, and you're not always able to select exactly who you want to. I mean, sure, if you're playing into Krennic and attacking with some of these units that can survive that initial attack, you can bring them down to where you need to in order to take advantage of fell or take them, and go from there. But it just feels like you're working more at it to go there instead of attacking your opponent's space to win the game, because ultimately that's what wins you the game, is just taking out your opponent's base. So there's some give and take in there, but still very solid deck. You got that super laser blast for when things go absolutely terribly wrong for you, and then hopefully you have Palp in your main deck to revive some of your fallen comrades that fall in there, like Vader probably. But yeah, it's a solid deck overall. Like it a lot.
All right. So to kind of wrap up this segment and to transition a little bit, and I don't want, so I'm going to put a clock on this, JJ. We're going to spend a shorter amount of time on this than I would normally say we spend, right? But one of the big questions that kind of comes out onto the board is like, what are you going to play for planetary qual? What are you going to play for show store downs? What do you want to play? What do you want to play? And what we're seeing Bulba Yellow coming back again, right? And we're seeing Sabine's still there, but kind of lowering a little bit. Like Sabine is kind of there, but not kind of there, right? And
yeah,
I think that's the biggest question is what are you looking to play? Because there's obviously a playbook that we have, and the playbook is like aggro beats this, mid-range beats this, control beats this, right? And control is always going after mid-range. Mid-range can beat aggro can beat control. And then when you have a deck that can beat more than that, that's when you kind of go, oh, hey, hold on a second. Like that's extremely imperative, right? And so I don't know, we're with the rise of control, you would think Sabine's going away. So I don't know what, it's crazy to me. To me, that's a little crazy, because if it's, I haven't seen a big downturn in Sabine. Why do you think that we're seeing control? Are they able to transition and not be as control-ish? What do you think?
so I think the biggest part is the sideboard. We're getting with the set two, we got a lot more cards in there that help you have elements of the other archetypes in there, so that help you transform your deck into those like control deck into more of a mid-range deck, so that we can help mitigate the differences in the two styles of decks, right? And if you're able to utilize your sideboard correctly, you can change the feel of your deck. And I think that's what makes Boba so much more versatile now. He has a range that can go more aggressive if he needs to with certain cards, like for instance Greedo and McClunky. That's really aggressive to help push in damage early and take out units on your opponent's side. Or you can swap out, put in some waylays, put in some outmaneuvers to be more of a control piece on Boba's end, and still make use of Boba's ability to recover a resource and play out more units that way. You have that flexibility in your sideboard, just depending on what you're seeing on your opponent's side. So I think we're starting to see the rise of these control decks and mid-range decks more than these aggro decks, because they now have cards that can help to those decks. And if your opponent has been playing just that style of deck only and hasn't adapted to morphing the deck in between rounds, so that way they can kind of have counters for the counter, then your opponent's going to have a harder time winning those second and third games against you once you've essentially altered your deck to adjust for what they're playing.
So you think that it's some of the healing that is going into that sideboard that's helping with that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, and so like this is, I think that's a valid point, right? You know, like that's very valid for what we could or could not be seeing, you know, right? And I think the big thing that we have here is the pure fact that because of the rise of mid range now. So mid range, so we've got Kira, right? Kira, I think Kira has a very good play into the Sabines and the Bobas of the world when it plays aggro. And because Boba Green's on the rise, Boba Yellow's morphine, Kira's now coming into play. We're seeing the Sabines and like we've never really seen Kylo's emerge. And I think that's just because Sabine feels more efficient, sadly enough. But because of that, it then makes way for control. So it makes way, even though I have Kira in the control column, it also allows Kira to be mid-range. And so you could play, so then you could play a 30-point Kira. It could still do decently into the aggro world. And it has the ability to heal and do all these other things. And now it is competing with control. And, it still loses to hard control, in my opinion. Like, I will tell you, my Kira, when I play Kira into Pelp has like an advantage, in my opinion, over it. But I also play a lot of Pelp. So there's that.
Yeah.
But anyway, the long story short is we have some of those different fields. And so now we talk about planetary qualifiers, right? And when we talk about planetary qualifiers, we talk about what's coming up, right? If you have to play what feels comfortable. And I think JJ, like you would attest, like whatever you've been playing is what you should be playing when you go to a planetary qualifier. But having multiple decks is a big thing. And then asking what is the game plan, right? So how many decks are you comfortable with? And then what is your game plan? So if you walk in and you're like, oh my gosh, everybody's running Sabine, do you want to run another aggro deck that can compete? Do you want to run a mid-range deck that can control it better without sacrificing too much game? Or do you want to run, a control deck just because Pelp is fun and everybody should be running Pelp instead? Except for Pelp mirrors are not the most fun unless you love grindy games. So I don't mind grindy games personally, and I'd rather play that than play against like a blue Iden. Those games are not super fun when you play Pelp, but anyway, the question is what is your game plan? And so the first thing is, number one, right, is we talk a little bit about, play what you're comfortable with. What have you been practicing? Have you been practicing getting reps in against all these other types of decks? And you have to look at your play style. My nephew, for example, is playing Kylo Yellow. That's what he's playing. You know why? Because it is pure aggro at its best.
Yeah.
There's 3 or 4 lines of play. I guess I'm oversimplifying Kylo. I apologize, but it has limited lines of play and allows for him to basically know his one win condition is 90% of the time. How do I put more damage on your base? And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So JJ, what would be another tip that you would say as we go into planetary qualifier season when you want to choose a specific deck? Like what are you looking to choose?
The other part of it too is, heading out to your locals, right? If you're having a group of your local players going out to these planetary qualifiers, spend time with your local group, see what they're running, seeing what they're playing with. That should give you an indication of, what you're going to expect to find at the planetary qualifiers, and you can adjust from there, right? If you have a group of friends that like to test out a lot of different decks, and you get to see what they're being comfortable with, that gives you a little information of what you can bring over to the planetary qualifier. The other part of it too is if a lot of these local tournaments around where the planetary qualifiers are being held, a lot of them tend to post their results online. Check it out. Check out the different store events that are happening around the planetary qualifiers. See what's been winning in those particular store events. That should also provide you a little information on what's going to be good. Because chances are, if you are a really good player with a particular deck and you've won your local store tournament, chances are you're going to take that same deck to a planetary qualifier because and proven that you can do well with that particular deck. So that is information that you can take with you to prepare for your planetary qualifier and help plan accordingly for what you want to put into your deck, what you want to put into your sideboard, so that way you have answers in the event that you do run into that particular deck in your planetary qualifier.
Yep. The third point I would like to make is when we talk about what is your game plan, right? That's super important. So JJ's saying, hey, go to your thing and find out what the specific cards people are playing and using to tech against other decks. And then what I would say is take that to the next step and say, okay, when I look at the averages, and if you're in the KTOD Discord, they have a great, like tournament thread. If you aren't in their Discord and you just are on the Facebook page, they have a great event section, or not event section, but they have a great place on there where people are literally posting event results a lot. And my thing is take your averages. So, right, if you're really competitive and you really want to win and you want to do good, what is my game plan? Let me look at all of the things. So if you feel and you look at it and you say, okay, aggro is showing up, let's say 15% more than control and 5% more than mid-range. Then what you want to do is when you want to tech your thing and you want to take those percentages and actually tech your sideboard with those percentages, right? So you're saying is, if I'm running an aggro deck and I know I'm going to be playing against like some hard control, I'm going to tech in some stuff that makes me go faster, that gets more out of hand damage. Daring Raid, for example, is a one cost event that literally lets you just dump 2 damage into their base. So if you're playing against a control deck that's going to just heal all the time, then that card's probably not as good as for a cause or something like that. But that's what you want to look at is take your local meta, what people are playing, the specific weird, different niche cards, and then walk into it and say, hey, okay, now what can I do? I'm going to use Arm to the Teeth for an example, and Jetpack. Those are 2 upgrade cards that I had not seen a lot of people play until I went to my locals, and this guy was teching in his jetpacks in his boba deck, right? And you know why? It's because he can afford a smuggled jetpack on the resource turn he flips boba. So he doesn't have to have now just Boba Fett's armor. He can now have jetpack or Boba Fett's armor, either one, and it doesn't matter. Jetpack is sitting in his resource row, and then it's just there. He doesn't have to have it, because the best thing, and I'll tell you what the best play is you put your Boba Fett's armor on. They can't do anything about it. Then you go to the next turn and you pull that jetpack out and you stick a shield on Boba and you say, you better have a Rival's Fall, because if you ain't got a Rival's Fall, baby, you ain't killing Boba. And then Boba becomes the new Voltron, type thing. That stupid Boba Fett's armor is disgusting, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, like
that's why you're seeing a little more confiscates being put into a lot of decks now because of that. Yep.
But going back to the original point and talking about your game plan is, if whatever you're playing, you have to look at what the overall meta is and say, okay, based on that, what percent is of that? And that's what I'm going to tech in to my actual specific sideboard, is what goes good against it. Because like I learned, and like I said last week, you could dump your whole stupid sideboard into your hand. I didn't know you could do that. I don't recommend doing that unless you're playing against hard control. Then I would recommend highly just take your whole 10 cards and dump them. I don't give you 10 more cards that they can't mill out. But it allows you to be more crafty. So if you're running aggro, you're looking for less heals and more gas. If you're going to be playing against something like a mid-range, you need a few of the larger units that help you close the game out, right? Such as Gorilla Attack Pod is being slept on again. Like, people were running that in Sabine, and all of a sudden now it's going to the sideboard. That could be a great sideboard tech card against a mid-range matchup. Bad against control for the most part, but great against the mid-range matchup. Because it allows you to get that bigger unit out. Unfortunately, Wrecker is just stupid with ECL. It's just, Wrecker should not. Wrecker is another card that you go, why is somebody think that was worth only 6 resources?
Yeah, exactly.
So really the big thing is, the last point I wanted to make is get your reps in, right? Like, practice. If you want to spend the money, K2D has a great community and Discord that allows you to do that. If you're like, hey, I don't really want to be a part of a paid community, there's tons of local Discords. We can help hook you up with a local Discord in your area for the most part. I can't guarantee it, but I frequent Michigan local Discords. I'm in almost all of them, all of the Michigan ones, and I can help you find one if you're in Michigan. But you can reach out on the TCG Star Wars TCG Reddit or the Star Wars TCG Facebook page, and both of them will give you places, and then you'll be able to find people that will help you practice, because getting your reps in is the biggest thing to do. And there's specific softwares that help you get reps in that I can't talk about because of my binding contract with FFG. But there is things that allow you to do things and play faster over that. Though I will say I'm getting a little bit more partial to webcam games. I never thought I would, because I like the feel of real cards, like or computer cards, like I do. So anyway, that kind of closes out our section talking about a little bit about what you can do as we go through and learn, as we get closer to where the planetary qualifiers are happening, what's going on, and how you can prep for them. Whew, I feel like I've talked a mountain full tonight.
Yeah.
So the last segment that we have, right, is probably the most exciting segment that everybody like tunes in for, and hence why I made it like one of the later segments, because I wanted to talk a little bit about other things, and I always don't want to cover spoilers. I agree with you guys. Give me spoilers or give me death, but I just really enjoy talking about other things that are not spoilers. But we are going to go straight to our Galactic Gazette, and we are going to talk about all the spoilers that happened last week. All right. Awesome. So welcome to our Galactic Gazette and our spoiler section. Thank you all for joining us for this. This is where Alex, I feel bad because Alex is sick. And I guess I should have told you guys that at the beginning of the episode. And I feel dumb now. Alex is off this week because he didn't feel good. And what we wanted to do was make sure that he had time to rest up and heal. But this is like his favorite segment. And it's kind of funny because, like all these podcasts are getting these new spoilers. So it's like there's just so many cards that are coming out and everybody's getting like the prompts. And that's, for me, that's one of the better things. Like that's one of the things I love that I see is like the FFG has been sharing the wealth with people. And I like that, because I think getting a variety of opinions on things, and that's hence why JJ and I have always worked together, because neither one of us see eye to eye on X-Wing stuff, right? All the time. For example, I didn't like droids, and with the new XWA points, and now I'm winning. I've won more games with them than I've won with CIS in a whole year. And so anyway, the idea behind this is like go watch some of these videos. Like they're cool. Like everybody's giving their hot takes, and sometimes like the card we got was cool. It worked very well with Maul, and other people are getting some of these like really good ones. And just hearing people's takes on them is just so awesome, because they're going to give you ideas on how you can play some of these new ones. But here, JJ, what is the new base? Why we got a new base, and like now it's a whole different health total too.
Yeah, so this was a little bit of a head scratcher, right? So we got Droid Manufactory, which comes in with only 24 health. So this is the lowest health base so far that we've seen. So this is one of those rare bases. Comes in with the ability, when you deploy a leader, you create 2 battle droid tokens. So this will definitely be a staple for some of these separatist leaders that rely on having coordinate available, so that way they can get some abilities off, or exploit. For instance, you can sacrifice those battle droid tokens and bring in a much larger unit for less if you're sacrificing those battle droids. It feels like a weaker ECL, and the main reason for that is, like, yes, you're getting battle droid tokens that, if I remember correctly, they only have 2 attack and 1 health. Sure, they can potentially do something down the line, or you can use them for exploit, but when you compare it to the strength of ECL, which helps you bring in a 6 cost or less, There's a lot of different cards that you can bring in through ECL that just do, I feel, a lot more work for what it can provide. Sure, it's a one time, same thing as this, but I mean, I know you're getting 2 different battle droid tokens with this, but it just feels like the trade off of that one additional health. Um, it doesn't feel like it's as strong. This is something that you might consider maybe running in an aggro deck. I mean, I could definitely see this being run with Sabine, for instance, if you really want just those that extra bodies on the field. I don't think it'll be very effective, but yeah, I mean, definitely great for IG 88 leader, sure.
All right, so my thoughts on this are twofold. One, we still haven't seen everything that can happen with putting extra units on the board, right?
Yeah.
But I will say this is 1 less health in ECL. It doesn't take anything off, and it doesn't happen until your leader comes out. Period. Like, so like my biggest thing is like they really are telling us that these battle droids, these one little tokens are so good. I'm I don't know. I like the fact that it specifically says battle droids and it does not say clone troopers, because if it was clone troopers, we'd be having a different discussion.
Yeah.
I would be telling you, you know what, that actually might be work, because you know, so yes, when you flip, it immediately activates your coordinate, which we haven't gotten to Padme yet, right? But she allows you to search your deck for a Republic card, reveal it, and draw it. I don't know if that's worth, like, again, FFG just loves this. They love this, like, oh my God, here, we're going to give you card draw. And they think that's like the best thing in the world. I don't, in my personal opinion, I don't see it. Smuggle was amazing, right? To me, Smuggle's great. Smuggle was one of the things that I think like has impacted the meta quite a bit for a lot of decks. But again, like, the problem I have is it's when you deploy your leader. So you have to live this long, and then you have to be able to deploy your leader. We haven't gotten to Dooku yet, Matt, but we will get to Dooku, and I do agree with you. If you could get your Dooku and you could get your stuff to live to this length, then it's going to be worth it. And I think understanding and creating the ability to stay alive to 24 health till you hit, you know, your 6 or 7 resources to flip, is where it's going to be. That's going to be big, because the decks we talked about in our last segment, how or where the decks are going to can morph, right? Like what's your meta? How do you solve your meta? How do you have these conversations? You know, with, you know, what's happening locally. And I think this will depend on if everybody's going wide and things are slowing down, and we're not getting these like extremely fast Sabine decks because everybody's able to put so many bodies on the board that just stop Sabine and Kylo and Lando and stuff like that. Then this base becomes more important. But if we don't get that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, let's move on. Do you want Padme or do you want Dooku?
I'll take Padme. You do Dooku.
Right.
So
there you go.
So we got the reveal here of our Padme Amidala leader here. So on her leader side, she comes in with green and heroic aspect. Her ability is coordinate action, spend a resource. You search the top 3 cards of your deck for a Republic card, reveal it and draw it, and then put the other cards at the bottom of your deck in random order. And then she deploys with 5 resources that you can control. And on her leader side, she's a 2 attack, 7 health, coming in with Naboo Republic official tags on it. She comes in with Restore 1, and her coordinate ability is on attack, search the top 3 cards of your deck for a Republic card, reveal it, and draw it. Definitely a fan of her leader side. Just because you do have that restore, that coordinate can be handy if you have already a lot of units out there on the board. Republic does already have some units that allow you to already deploy additional clone trooper tokens out there, so that way you can take advantage of Padme's ability right off the bat there. Just being able to draw additional cards into your hand for free with Padme is really good. We are going to get quite a lot of different Republic units with this particular set that's coming out there, so you are likely to draw cards that you need. Probably really good in constructed if you're just building pure like Republic deck to really maximize her ability. Probably not so much in sealed. But while she's out there on the board, she can definitely help you refill your deck pretty easily. And that restore one is an extra bonus there. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm not super high on this, and I feel like this is a version of like Cassian, right? Like Cassian, you just pay one and you get to get a card. This one, you get to pick a specific card, and I will say that's, to me, that's better. Like I like that better. She is a 2/7, but man, she's a 2/7, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
She needs weapons. She needs shields to stay healthy. Yeah.
Yep. And if we kind of go back to Destiny, if we go back to like our Destiny discussion, which we did, I guess you never were around in Destiny, but we go back to Destiny, like this feels closer to kind of similar what she had in Destiny. I will tell you the artwork on here is awful, in my opinion.
Yes,
but,
I agree.
But yeah. and look, on her unit side, is that Bale in the background? Is there like, it feels like somebody superimposed a little baby Bale in the background? Like
it does look like baby Bale.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
I will put this leader to me is ranked like a C right now. Like I do like the fact that you get to be able to draw cards. Like, and when she flips, like you don't have as much of a reason to kill her because she's just drawing cards, right? Like if you're going to invest, especially on your 4 resource turn, are you really going to invest spending a lot of time in trying to kill her? Probably not. I don't think her being able to draw 1 or 2 Republic cards makes that big of a difference. And she's only a restore 1. If she was like a restore 2 or a restore 3, like even a restore 2 would make her a little bit more of a lethal target at least. So I don't know. I agree with you. I think in sealed this becomes a little bit harder to play unless everything says Republic. And I just would rather play Hunter, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's move on to our first Republic spoiler. Naboo Republic Trooper Captain Typho. We can call him Typho Mary. Is that what we get to call her? Typhoon Mary. He is a 3-cost 2/7. When played and on attack, give a unit Sentinel for this phase. I think this is a decent card, but it's nothing to write home about. But this is in sealed. This is going to be really good, by the way, because you could give it's a mini Chewbacca type ability.
Yeah,
but you gotta have something else on the damn table to use.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you have like other clone trooper tokens out there and you're giving them Sentinel, that helps you protect your more valuable assets out on the fields. So it has some utility on there, and the best part about it is that it are attacking as well, so you can consistently assign Sentinel out there. Could be pretty good. I mean, it has a pretty decent ceiling for what it can do. Just help delay your opponent from going into your base early on. But you just have to have other units in order for you to really take advantage of this. I think this is much stronger as mid to late game card than early game. But yeah, it has some utility. Nothing that's going to break the game open for Republic builds, but something to definitely consider.
Yeah, it's a cool card. It's a nice concept. I like being able to give something Sentinel when I play him, and like he technically you can build him up right, like to some extent. Like they're gonna have to use again. He's gonna be bad against villain, but he's gonna be very good against like other Republic decks. Like this fits into a Luke-ish deck. Like I could play him with Luke, be able to shield him. He gives the Sentinel. He then attacks the first and then gives another Sentinel. And like he can live a little bit longer than we think it is. I would rate him a little bit higher on that scale for playability. I think again in sealed, he's going to be like a monster in sealed. Like I think if you play sealed and you're going to play hero, this is the card you draft. So yeah. All right. Tell me what capital ship we finally got. I'm so excited about this one. I'm very excited about this ship.
Yes. So we got a 7 hero aspect only Tranquility. It is a 7/6 Republic vehicle capital ship, and it reads, when played, you may return a Republic unit from your discard pile into your hand, and then on attack, each of your next 3 Republic cards you play this phase costs 1 less, which is fantastic, especially if your opponent is milling your deck. You're able to retrieve some of those units that went into your discard. Now you're playing them for 1 less on there. It is really, really good. And the best part about it too is that if you're able to essentially ambush us in, assuming that you have a high amount of cards on there, you're able to play some of those cheaper cards in really quickly there. I would hopefully have some cheap 1 or 2 cost cards in my discard, I would hope, so that way I can play them either for free or for 1 cost, and you can just bring your board state back up and revive from that early play. Really, really strong, especially when you combine this with like the other card that we have on to the right of it, Outspoken Representative, that when you kill it again, it just creates another Clone Trooper token on there. It is really strong. It's just the gift that keeps on giving. So
imagine having all 3 of these cards out. You have Captain Tano, you have Outspoken Representative, you have Tranquility. I mean, like I felt Hero lacked some larger ships. Like for the most part, like it had. We have Home 1. Yes, I know we have Home 1. But now I've got an alternative to Home 1, and I can play this in every Hero deck. Sold. I'm sold on this card. I love this card. I will tell you, this card is going to become a nightmare when we get to like larger tournaments, because how are you going to remember how many cards you are going to play? And you know what this combos really well with? U-wing reinforcement.
Oh yeah.
Right? So if you have this on the board and you can attack, and then it's still there, on your 8 resources turn, you can then play that U-wing reinforcement, and it gets discounts upon discounts. It has to be Republic cards, but I think we're gonna get plenty of those. I think we're good, right? Yeah, but Home 1 easy. And this together, like, I'm sorry, U-wing reinforcement and this together, so good. All right, the next one we have is Outspoken Representative. I don't know why Jar Jar Binks is not the main character on this, because he is an outspoken representative, but we have. I don't know what race is Greedo's. What are they?
Oh gosh, it's not Toydarian. Wow, the race escapes me off the top of my head. I'm just gonna come to me randomly in the middle of the night now. Yeah.
Well, hopefully before the end of the show. But anyway, so this basically is a Republic official. It's a 2-cost 0/3. While you control another Republic unit, this gains Sentinel, and when you defeat it, you get another Clone Trooper. Again, it's whatever. It's a fun card. You get Sentinel. If you control another Republic unit, I would give this a little bit lower of a rating, unless you're able to just control many millions of Republic units. Good in a Republic deck, bad as an overall non-synergistic style card.
Yeah, I mean, if you hit around the nail. Having this in a Republic heavy deck is really good, especially when you combine it with Captain Typho. You can essentially just create another Clone Trooper that can gain Sentinel from Captain Typho. But yeah, it's very restrictive to you just having a lot of Republic units. So yeah.
Yeah, I think
Rodian, by the way, that's the name.
Rodian. Thank you
to
Matt,
to the chat.
Yeah. So that's. I think again, and this in Ray, this is another like target for Ray, right? Like this fits into a Ray deck.
Yeah, Ray deck. Yeah.
Because again, it's not doing the damage back, but she can start buffing this, and she can buff this like for 3 turns if you don't kill it. And so even if you just play it out there, it's just sitting there. The ability to create a Clone Trooper token for 2 is that I will tell you that it's probably pretty good. Either which way, because it doesn't matter how it's defeated. If you defeat it, it's giving them a Clone Trooper token. So now we're going to have to think, when we go play Power of the Dark Side and they choose this, they get a freaking Clone Trooper token out of it.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're paying for. You're paying 2 costs for a Clone Trooper token. All right, let's move on. We got to keep going. We got some Count Dooku coming in here. You get to, we get a Count Dooku. not as enamored, but I love the artwork on this. I love the fact that we just have him very stoically sitting there, and you've got all the droids just sitting behind him. It's just droid after droid after droid. So his is the face of the Confederacy. Play a separatist card from your hand. It gains exploit 1. Basically, you can defeat any unit that you have, and it costs 2 less. When he flips, he is a 5/9, which that's crazy. And he gains overwhelm, and then his on attack is the next separatist card you play this phase gains exploit 3. I don't know how good that part of it is. We'll see. But that, I mean, essentially when he attacks, you could defeat your own units to play a bigger unit, right? You know, so for example, Maul, he can attack. If you've got 3 battle droids that you play down, you can then, again, Droid Factory, as the chat pointed out earlier, thank you for that. Droid Factory, you flip him, he creates 2 of these damn things. He then attacks. You can now play Maul for 4 less.
Oh man, that's so good.
So I think that obviously was probably designed more for him, but he's a 5/9. He is a 5. Like, he don't have raid. He doesn't have anything. He's just a 5/9 for 7.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 9 health unit. Thank God we have Rivals Fall type stuff, because man, this guy is just, he's gonna hit you. We also get the Force and Separatist and Sith text for it, so he is a Force unit. He works with Force effing cards. So good. I think I'm not super high. I don't think he's like off the charts amazing, but I do think there is going to be some big lines of play for him, and I feel he's like competing for a better Grievous spot. He's going to be this feels more like a mid-range type character than anything.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing right now is that I think you're going to staple super laser techs on this deck for sure, just so you can exploit them and that extra resource, and then exploit cards in by sacrificing the super laser techs. Sacrificed, like, there is a lot of utility that you can bring out for Count Dooku to bring in a lot of those larger units back into the board quickly. I'm pretty sure Dooku is going to definitely see some playtime.
All right, so let's move on and let's talk a little bit about some of the units that come along. Tell us about Rush Clovis, JJ.
So Rush Clovis, he comes in at 4 costs with the cunning and villainy aspect, coming in with a 3 attack, 5 health, raid separatist and official. He has raid 2 and on attack. If the defending player controls no ready resources, create a battle droid token. So this definitely wants you to really take advantage of playing this late, especially if your opponent is playing aggressively and actively going for that first player initiative. You can really take advantage of this of that particular type of play with Rush Clovis on there. I actually would probably like to combo this together with DJ. If you can capture some of your opponent's resources, you can get this done faster. And really just help control the board. This is probably going to be a really good piece in sealed, because you don't necessarily need to pair this with anything else, and it works every time it attacks. So it's a pretty good card, definitely.
Yeah, I think this is good. I think this is good because it's basically a 5/5 when it attacks.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to see again with the battle droid creation, but I think just having a 4 cost 5/5 is pretty good. So like if you kill it, it's only does 3 damage, but man, if you don't kill it, it's a 5/5 for 4. And then it has a special ability. I think it's pretty good. And this is like a conversation piece of, can Boba evolve into doing something with droid creation, or is this more really designed to go with Grievous? And my guess would be it fits better with Grievous, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So is the next one, is that a 00M series officer, or is that an 00M?
00M. Zero
Okay.
zero M. Yeah.
So it's a 00M Roger Roger Separatist droid. It's a 2/1. When defeated, deal 2 damage to a base. So basically, it's a 2 cost unit that does 2 damage to your base, and it's whatever.
I
I
don't
don't
know,
have.
dude. I think this is a staple to Palp decks. If you want a cheap unit that you want to sacrifice for Palp, and deal 2 damage to your base on top of that, I
All right,
easily
fair enough.
want to
Fair
this.
enough.
That and exploit as well, right? Because if you have a bunch of these out on the board, you exploit them, they're going to deal damage to the base automatically, and then bring out a bigger unit on top of that.
That's fair.
This is going to be great, I think.
All right, that's fair. I guess I forgot about the exploit piece of it. Yeah, and you're right. Okay, in Pelp, this is good. In Vader, this is good because they both can kill that unit. I don't know how much. You're right. With exploit, it's basically like I'm gonna pay two to deal 2 damage to a base and then reduce something by 2. So
Yeah.
I guess basically you're doing 2 damage to a base for free if they let you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna do the next one just because I'm a Separatist player and you're not. So I'm gonna do Squadron of Vultures, and I don't care how good this card is or not good this card is. This card is the artwork is amazing, and I love Separatists. If you listen to our X-Wing podcast, I will talk a million times about how much I love like Separatists and how like I've been literally like that is my main faction is Separatists. The best part is they have the droids leaving the rock. Like watch them.
Yes.
There's one on the rock, one partially on a rock, one leaving a rock, and one flying at you. And the best part is in X-Wing, you can only have 2 on a rock at one time anyway. So this doesn't even violate the X-Wing principles which FFG created. Anyway, sorry. This is a 6 cost common 5/4 Separatist droid vehicle fighter. It's got a million keywords, and then it's exploit 3. While you play in this unit, defeat up to 3 units you control, and this card costs 2 less for each unit. So you can literally like if you could create droids, you could play a 5/4 on turn 3. Yeah. Right? Like I don't know. I don't think this is like changing the world, and it does only have 4 health. I would have rather seen it have an exploit, and if you kill something, you get +1. Like that would be better for this attack. But I don't know. It works obviously very well with the 00M officer, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, imagine if you get that trifecta right, you essentially have 3 of these the 00Ms. Kill all 3 of them, deal 6 damage to your base, and then just play a Squadron of Vultures for free. Like that seems exclusively really good. Also, you're living in magical Christmas land, as Harry Nick would say. But it seems like a lot of fun, and I would definitely give this one a try. I don't know how effective it would be, considering that there are stronger options at a 6 cost for red. But definitely something to keep an eye out because it does have the potential to be a nice swing, especially if you're targeting units that need that have that when defeated keyword for like different options on there. So yeah.
I just feel like I should get all the Separatist cards.
That's your new challenge. Win a planetary qualifier with Separatists. Yes.
All right. Challenge accepted, baby. Challenge accepted. All right. Tell us about a Magna Guard wing leader.
Awesome. So we got a 3 cost Magna Guard wing leader with the green and black aspect cost there. Comes in at 3 attack, 4 health with the Separatist vehicle and fighter keywords, and it reads action: attack with a droid unit, then attack with another droid unit. Use this ability only once each round. So the best part about it is that you don't have to exhaust this card in order to use that action, which is absolutely great. And it would also work with a lot of the Separatist droids that are out there right now. So you can essentially swing in a bunch of damage with some of those droids. As we've seen earlier already with that 00M droid, once it dies, it just deals additional damage as well. So you can essentially have them kamikaze to push in a lot of damage if you need to. And then on top of that, after you perform that action, you could still swing in the Magna Guard Wing Leader for its regular damage as well. So definitely a really good utility utility unit for this particular card.
All right. This card feels somewhat bonkers to me
Hmm.
because as long as it's a droid unit, it doesn't matter what droid unit. It doesn't have to be a battle droid unit. It could be any droid unit.
Yep.
And that's just an action. This is, again, now we're talking about action cheating. Holy shit. We like this. This stupid card, and again, it's only a 3/4, but man, you put a Sentinel in front of this, and like I could just action this and swing with two droid units.
Mm-hmm.
Again, challenge accepted for planetary qualifier with separatist droids and vehicles. Like, boom, baby. Like, I don't know. I think this card is top notch. When am I getting my HMPs? That's what I want to know. Do I get HMPs this game? I hope I do.
I'm sure they're coming, man. They got to be coming. I'm sure.
Give me some HMPs, baby. All right, let's move. Let's keep moving, or Tanner will be here all night talking about this. we got General Kalani coming in with a very weird gun. Don't know why Kalani's even holding a gun. I don't remember Kalani holding a gun ever in the movie or the show. Maybe I'm wrong. But this is
odd.
This is a 6 cost, angry Kalani, I guess. Separatist droid. On attack, you may choose another unit. If you have the initiative, you may choose up to 2 other units instead. Give each unit +2/+2 for this phase. I think this is okay. I like the Magna Guard Wing Leaders better, I guess. But I think this has some value if you're very wide and you have some sort of Sentinel in front of it or something like that. I think this is going to have a lot of play. I think one of the big things here, though, right, is the fact that you're getting a 5/7 body for 6 cost. It is 1 cheaper than like a Maul. This can be ECL'd out, by the way. This works very well with ECL because you can immediately get your on attack. So if you have a wider board, which is my assumption is what we're moving towards, you can ECL this stupid thing out, kill off something of theirs, give the +2/+2 to at least 1 other unit, if not 2. And if you're playing this Magna Guard Wing Leader and this, like, I almost feel like this, like, I want to make a droid closing deck. Like, that's an aggro. Can we finally get a villain aggro deck that really works really well against a lot of things? And like, this feels like a closer, kind of similar to what we got with Wrecker. Not as good as Wrecker, in my opinion, but still pretty close.
Yeah, and sealed, this thing has got to be bananas, right? Because you're not limited to droids. You could choose just 2 other units in general. So yeah, this has got to be like an auto include.
Yeah, it could be your. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. Tactical Droid Commander. Who is that? What is that? I can't remember that. That tactical droid has to have a name.
It's like it looks like TA-97, I think, but it's all yellow, so I don't remember seeing one that's like that. But they're general unit, yeah.
Fair enough. Tell us about it.
And so yeah, it's a 5 cost yellow and black aspect, coming in with 4 attack and 4 defense with separatist and droid as keywords. It has exploit 2, so it reads, when you play another separatist unit, you may exhaust a unit that costs the same or as less as the unit played. So essentially, when you're playing another one of your units from your hand, you get to exhaust another unit that's out on the board, and offers a pretty good amount of control there. I mean, man, and the best part about it is that you can do it to a leader as well. So if somebody's built up their leader and you bring out this droid out there, I mean,
I don't know. This seems really good. This seems like super good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially with the cheap battle droids that you can like put out for like 1 or 2 costs. I mean, this is definitely going to see some play on yellow.
I like this. I'm going to state it here again. I really like this card. So I do like it says that you play versus create though, because I think if it just said when another separatist unit hits the board, right, and then you have your droid tokens, you're just that. I mean, like you're just screwed. But I'm telling you, like this card's a little bit bonkers as well, because you could kill 2 units to play this thing, and if they don't kill this thing, like I mean, like it's like here saying, I'm just gonna exhaust units. I know Grogu hasn't really been like very prominent. But if Grievous or Dooku like really can pick up things, like I mean, how about this? I can even see some of this stuff in like a Maul type deck. I don't know. Yeah. I like this card. I'm biased. I love this card a lot.
Yeah.
All right, now we're on to Zero the Hutt. I'm so excited we got Zero, even though it's whatever. I like this. It's a 5-cost 2/8. Like this is, we got to go back and look at Jabba and see if he has a keyword Hutt or not, because I don't know if he does. When played, for each opponent, you may exhaust a unit that player controls. Seems pretty good. On attack, for each opponent, you may exhaust a resource that player controls. So super good in Twin Suns, by the way, but you only get one. I was going to say. I feel this is good in personally. I feel this is good in Sealed and Draft 2, but like it's a 2/8 unit. You could buff the stupid thing up if you want. You get to exhaust units, so like this is just a massive exhaust units, and it's really hard to kill.
Yeah. It's definitely a staple for underworld decks. You know, you can bring out Proxima, deal damage once you play Zero the Hutt, and then exhaust a unit. And then if you're ambushing this in, you know, get the exhausted resource. So you're really going for the heart of your opponent's resources, just denying them the ability to do that. And this is the second card that we've seen so far that starts exhausting resources. You start combining in DJ again, like I mentioned before. You're really just choking your opponent's options for even playing any cards. So yeah, this definitely is going to see some play in some niche decks.
Yeah, this just makes my Jabba deck better.
Yeah.
All right, and it was confirmed. The chat confirmed for us that the unit is Hutt. So so nice. This is not the first Hutt, thank God. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is really good. I can't remember what was the baby Hutt name from Clone Wars.
Oh man, I
can't the stupid little the thing that Ahsoka calls like
that
a slime.
Ahsoka carried around, yeah,
and she called it a slime ball. I hope we get that one. Like, oh man, I'm so excited. I will play just a Jabba deck. See, now I don't want to get rid of my Jabba showcase. All right, we got to keep moving. I'll be here forever talking about waxing poetic. Tell us about Wartime Trade Official.
So it's a 2-cost, a blue and black aspect coming in at 1 attack and 3 health with separatist and official tags. And it reads, when defeated, create a battle droid token. So this is yet another unit here that really works with getting effects that happen when it's defeated, just creating additional droid tokens. This is yet another case for a unit that can be fodder for exploit tactics and just creating additional units there. Definitely something that we're going to see, especially since it is not unique. You're able to put several of these out and bring out more battle droids as you start killing these particular units. They're great.
All right. So this Kalani, right? So I'm just going to kind of come back to Kalani here for a second. Our next one is called a calculating Magna Droid, Magna Guard, which is a separatist droid. When played or when a friendly unit is defeated, this unit gains Sentinel. So this unit is going to gain Sentinel. Did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Okay. Your camera disappeared for a second. So when this unit is played, like, so you could give this unit +2/+2 as a Sentinel, right? Like, that's just crazy with Kalani. I don't know, like, I don't know if we'll have a blue-green, I don't know, maybe a Pelp deck, but
yeah,
this, like,
5/6/3 cost.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, this is, I love the fact that they say calculating Magna Guard, because again, we talk about, we gotta stop talking about X-Wing, but like, this is like an X-wing. You have calculating magna guards, and like if you have calculating droids, you get to do different little things. Well, this is kind of cool. They're like taking verbiage and bringing it into this game.
Yep.
I think this is a conditional sentinel that is 1 extra health over a phase trooper, and I think this will be better off than a phase trooper, and this would definitely go very well in a lot of villain blue decks, just for the pure fact that even though it's not a sentinel to begin with, when you play it against sentinel, or when a friendly unit is defeated again, it just like it's always going to have sentinel, and if you play something to defeat it, so's life, right? So basically you have to attack this and kill it, which essentially means it has sentinel. Like, I don't know, all around I like the way the play on it. I think this is a great card.
Yeah, exactly. And just like Matt said in the chat, putting the electro staff on top of that for that sentinel unit. I mean,
my God, stop. Don't do that. No, don't listen to the guy in the chat. Don't listen to the guy in the chat.
All right, so the next one we got here is Wartime Profiteering. It's a 1-cost yellow-black aspect, and it reads, look at the cards at the top of your deck equal to the number of units that were defeated this phase. Draw one and put the others on the bottom of your deck in random order. So conditional draw. I mean, probably don't want to do that when somebody's played Super Laser Blast and killed like 10 units on the board. You don't want to mill through 10 cards just to draw one. But definitely could have some uses. I mean, it's a cheap card draw, 1 resource for 1 draw. Could have some use on there, but there are other better options, I think, on the board currently that you can draw through, like V-Wings, for instance. So sure, so that's something that you'll have on the side, but likely not really used too much, I don't think.
It's conditional. I mean, if you think about like Overwhelming Barrage or something like that, somebody destroys 3 or 4 units, you get to look for the 3 or 4 units, and you get to pick one of those. And the best part is just a card. It's draw 1, put the rest of the bottom of your deck in your. You don't have to show them what cards you got, by the way, either. Like, this is a mind game card. This should have a trickster subtext and not a supply subtext. I actually think this card has more play than you think it does. I genuinely think this is very good. Like in an exploit deck, or in any sort of a droid deck. I actually really like this card. I'm very high on this card, but I'm also high on commission, and a lot of people don't like commission and aren't running commission. I think this card feels the same way as if we're slowing decks down and we can slow things down a little bit, this card becomes super important, in my opinion. So let's move to the Invisible Hand, baby. Look at that. Look at that little Separatist Invisible Hand ship. It is an 8-cost 4/7. We got another capital ship in villain again. This one is when you play, you can just create 4 battle droid tokens. On attack, exhaust any number of friendly Separatist units, deal 1 damage to the defending player's base for each unit exhausted that way. So this like plays into like a burn style deck. So the best part about that, right, is you get to attack with it, and then you get to essentially, because it's on attack, if you have a bunch of droids, you can exhaust all of them, and it's like they attacked your the opponent's base, and then you can use them for exploit. So there you go. And by the way, when you play it, you get 4 of them. So like even like even just playing this, you could just literally play this stupid thing. And what's that? Gore, right? Gore. You could play this for 8, and then Gore all of a sudden is reduced by 8. So as long as you have 12 resources, you can play Gore and this ship in 1 turn. I don't know. Yeah. I think this. I think this ship will see a lot of play.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the best part about it too is that it's a way to get around Sentinel mechanics. You know how some of the blue decks are very Sentinel heavy around there. You're essentially creating 4 battle droids and then exhausting them. They don't have to attack any of the Sentinels, and you're just dealing damage right into the base. And your opponent now has the task of either trying to go for your own base, or to spend a turn killing a 1/1 token battle droid in exchange for that, right? So yeah, definitely a lot of utility. We're definitely going to see this played out very well.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I guess I'm going to wax poetic here about how maybe it's just because this is the era I got to introduce my children to Star Wars, right? So like I have a like affinity to the Clone Wars and some of this stuff that a lot of people probably are like, why do you like the first 3 movies? And I was like, well, I don't know. Like my son loves Darth Maul. I don't know. This set just like I could probably just play this set and then like stop playing Unlimited and just like feel satisfied. I could just feel good about my life for the rest. I'll just be happy that I got to play a card game that gave me this. That gave me this. You know what?
Yeah.
The only thing we need is that stupid little squid ship. Give me that squid ship too. I hope we get that squid ship.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next one?
So next one here is the 3-cost droid commando that is green and villainy aspect with 4 attack and 3 health. Read separatist droid and trooper on this one. While you control another separatist unit, this unit gains ambush, which is fantastic. I mean, you get that early ambush play with a 3-cost there, and all you have to do is just have another separatist unit on the board. Just really, really good utility. It's very much like the other green Cloud Rider that requires another green unit. Same type of deal. Just have another separatist unit out there. You get that ambush. You can swing in and take out a priority target really fast. And yeah, it's really something that you're going to see a lot in separatists. I think this is a very solid unit for 3 cost.
Yeah, it's a great ambush unit. Nothing like over amazing, like over the top. You know. It's like Cloud Rider is a 3/1. This is a 4/3, so it has a little bit more health. It's conditional, but I think we're learning the conditional is a little bit less to worry about. So, all right, the next card I get to take, and I plan this specifically for me or Alex. The Confederate Courier. This is the new Pelp card. You play Pelp, you play this card. I don't care what kind of color Pelp you're playing this card. When defeated, create a battle droid token. I mean, you get to draw a card, you get to create a battle droid token. If you get to swing with it, it's even better. Like great. Like this is a great separate vehicle fighter. I have nothing bad to say about this card for Pelp. For regular, I don't think it's a great card, but for Pelp, amazing card.
Yeah, definitely. And yet another target for exploit. Just fantastic.
Yeah. So there you go. Like here, maybe this is the answer. Pelp can play this, can ramp, can use this, and then like get battle droid tokens to then turn around and play exploit to kill things even faster.
Yeah.
I feel like Pelp Red may be coming back, baby.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right.
So I'm going to go to I have the high ground.
Oh my god! All right.
It's a 1-cost tactic. It is a blue aspect only, and it reads: choose a friendly unit. Each enemy unit gets -4 attack while attacking that unit this phase. The reason why I like this one a lot is mainly because of the Dark Troopers units. It is a green villainy aspect, 3-cost unit. That has Sentinel, and you essentially put this on that unit, and if they decide to go into that unit, it's just going to keep on gaining experience. And if they're essentially not going to be, their offense is going to be neutered. It's going to be hard for them to take out that Sentinel with this. Combine it for even more shenanigans with the Electro Staff weapon to give it even more reduction in attack, and you're never going to kill that unit, and it's just going to keep on gaining experience until finally this wears off. I absolutely love this. I think that if I'm running a blue Tarkin deck, I would absolutely have this stapled on with all my Dark Troopers, and then just keep on feeding in experience. And yeah, it's going to be great.
Right. So,
yeah. Saboteur for sure. Yeah,
let's forget the Saboteur for a second. This card for 1 cost is bonkers. Like you are going to have to just like. You're going to have to find a different way around. We're going to have to hold cards. Like it feels like we're moving away from like this card right here is a middle finger to aggro if you have a sentinel down. Period.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't care about Dark Face. I get your point with Dark Face Trooper, but what's going to happen? So this is what would happen. If I'm playing against you and I got 3 units on the board and a Dark Face, and you got Dark Face Trooper and you play this turn 1, if I don't have an answer to remove that, I'm literally playing my cards and claiming and saying, go fuck yourself. Like, I'm not going to play that round. I'm done. And you ain't, how many of these are you going to have? The biggest issue is going to be if you can figure out how to recur this out of your graveyard. If you could figure out how to get this card out of your graveyard and back into your hand, now we're in big turns. This card is stupid, and I think the biggest thing is going to be like there's going to be a weird niche-y type thing, right? Where like if I'm playing blue green villain, if you play this on one of your sentinels, I'm just gonna power the dark sided. I don't give a shit. Like whatever. I'm gonna put make an opening on it. You know, like I'm gonna play those things, but not all the decks have that. This is I don't know. This card is dumb, in my opinion, in that aspect. Like I just cannot believe this card was created, and I feel like this card can go very well in like a Kylo deck. If you want to run Kylo Blue now, right? Oh, by the way, open Kylo up. You don't have an answer. Boom, I'm just going to play this on Kylo. What you going to do, baby? You know, like, there you go. Like, I mean, like, I could use this for Kylo. I could use this for Lando. I don't know. I love it.
Oh, man.
You give it to your anchor. That's true. Yeah. There you go. That's the counter. So give it to your anchor.
Oh, man. That's great. So let's go to Masamita.
This is a double green, so we got another double green, 2 cost. He's a vice chair. I don't know why this is not just villain. Like this is Pelp's guy, right? You know, like this is who this is. He's a 0/4 Republic official that costs 2. When you play another unit, you may exhaust this unit. If you do, search the top 4 cards of your deck for a unit, reveal it, and draw it. I feel whatever, it's okay. It's obviously specifically for double green. I won't lie and say in a 100 deck, this is probably really good. If you're going to run 100 double green, okay. My son gave me a whole bunch of crap because I pulled apart the double green hunter deck to rebuild the double green Palpatine deck. But this card works very well in that hunter deck, and that's because the unique units and all these other things just is so good because like it allows you to specifically start digging for cards that allows you to be able to resource them to use them later and do all sorts of weird things with them. I will say, though, I don't think this card is that good. And, like, I don't know. Like, this is not, like, me wanting to play. Like, I don't care as much about this. It's not like when you play Bail Organa and, like, you just exhaust to give experience tokens out. You have to kill Bail. Otherwise, he just ramps everything that you're playing against.
Yeah.
This.
Exactly.
I don't care as much about killing it because I don't care about you searching your deck for cards, I guess, as much. I don't know.
So like this is the card that you play if you had a bad mulligan, right? You play this first, and now you can counteract your bad mulligan by drawing specific units that you need, and then just making sure that you can at least counteract that bad draw that you had. It's just insurance for that. Probably not a main deck card. I mean, you could have 1 or 2 in there, but honestly, there's other better options for 2. And on top of that, the double green aspect makes it really, really restrictive. So yeah, it's D tier.
So before we leave and go on to the next cards, I have to hear you say I have the high ground. Like you have to say it like Obi-Wan. I want to hear you.
I have the high ground, Anakin.
Thank you. I just wanted that for soundbite. By the way, I wanted that for soundbites for later. That's all. All right, let's move on.
You're up, baby. So we got the The 501st Liberator here. He comes in at 3 costs, just green aspect, with 3 attack and 3 defense. And it reads, when played, if you control another Republic unit, you may heal 3 damage from your base. Comes with Republic Clone and Trooper aspects on the card itself. Really, really great. Number one, just big props on the artwork. I love it because it reminds me of the Gendy Tartarovsky Clone Wars, the animation. It's really great. This pairs really well with that Clone Deserter, which is a 2 cost, if I remember correctly. So early on, you can just keep your base healed, especially if you're playing versus aggro. Works really well. And I mean, talk about just play it and heal 3 damage automatically, and you have a unit that can do attack. It is definitely going to be a staple for a lot of Republic decks that can make sure that they stay in the game by just outlasting their opponent. This is a card that's going to be really good.
Yeah, I like it too. It heals.
Yeah.
What we need now is a way to recur this to my hand so I can play it again the next turn and just continue to heal 3 damage every turn. That's what what I need.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I think it's a great card. Now we have a Vanguard Droid Bomber, 2 cost Separatist Droid Vehicle Fighter. It's a 2/2/2. If you control another Separatist unit, deal 2 damage to an enemy base when you play it. It's okay, right? It's not a good turn 1. It's a good turn 2 play.
Yeah.
It's a 2/2/2 in space, which is not really good. But you can buff it with some of these other things, so I think it's going to see play. I think it'll see play. So,
yeah.
All right, tell me about Heavy.
So 4 cost Heavy comes in with just the red aspect, coming in with 4 attack and 4 health. It has Republic Clone Trooper keywords, and it comes with Coordinate and Raid 2. And when defeated, deal 1 damage to each enemy ground unit on there. Love the artwork on there, having that Gatling gun repeater on the card there. I kind of like the theme of it, right? 4 cost, 4 attack, 4 health. And with Raid 2, this thing swings in for 6 damage for a 4 cost, which makes it really strong if you're able to get that coordinate off. And on top of that, it's dealing extra damage when it gets defeated. That definitely is going to see some play in some Republic decks. And man, this thing can definitely hit hard. Definitely something you would consider either doing a timely intervention on if you have the units out, or even just ECLing this early just to swing in and just wreck some stuff. It's really good.
I will say it loses stock because of the coordinate piece.
Yeah.
And like, because we have the Nexu Hunter, that's a 4/4/4, and if you have another, red unit, right, you get +2 raid. And we don't see a lot of that. We do see it in sealed. This is great for a sealed card. I'm iffy on this card. I like it. You know what I want? I want a Captain Rex that is a Hera Captain Rex. That basically, instead of Spectre, you could play any color clone
trooper.
There you go. Give me that. I'll play the hell out of that. I'll play. I don't care if
Cody, right?
Or Cody.
Commander Cody, or
You're not getting Cody. You're not getting Cody. You're getting Rex. We already talked about that last week while you were gone.
Yeah.
All right. So we have 2 left, right? Yep, 2 left. Yeah. We have a 2 cost event called Grenade Strike. Deal 2 damage to a unit. You may deal 1 damage to another unit in the same arena.
Is this the first splash damage tactic card that we've seen?
No, like Bombing Run does it to all of them, but
true.
This is okay. It's okay. I'll just say that I think it's okay. I think it's good. I'm still probably not going to play this over Make an Opening.
I
make an argument for it. Open Fire.
I will make an argument for this, and only in one deck specifically, Red Palpatine.
Okay.
You throw this on there, and congratulations, you have all different options now for Palpatine to come in and just turn them over.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's so very true. You are correct in that. And you are correct in the aspect of like I could play a unit, play this, and then do that 1 damage. So if you have like these clone troopers that are like the 2 costs or whatever, I can then pulp it with like another resource for 3 resources. If I have another unit on the board, I can see. I like the fact that they did say you may deal 1 damage to another unit, which is good. Because you know that, and I like it that it's forcing it to be the same arena, so it's very thematic. It's very hilarious that we have a clone trooper standing there with a thermal detonator, and then all these battle droids just standing around. Nobody's shooting him. No one's shooting. He's just like, let me ready my thermal detonator. And these battle droids are like, I don't know what you're supposed to be doing right now. We could just be shooting you, Roger, but instead you're gonna bomb us. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's silly. Omega
Yeah,
lets you
and
play
then-
clones without. All right.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
All
Omega.
right. And
So,
so kill my Omega. But
The last one that we got here is the 2 costs on top of things, coming in with just the single yellow aspect. And it reads, when played, attached unit can't or cannot be attacked this phase, and it gives you +2 attack. This gets stapled onto every interceptor, to every Boba Fett leader. Just great. You go in, swing in, and just wreck stuff. You can't attack it. Of course, this also gets stopped by Sentinel, obviously. But you go in and boom. Especially if you put this on a TIE Phantom, it's swinging in for 6 damage right off the bat, and
you
could
can't
play
kill
this,
it.
What, turn 4, and you
Yep.
can't kill it. Yeah, just perfect. Yeah.
And is it okay? You see that it says trick, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. They haven't clarified. I want to know if this is searchable with Jabba. You know what? It's not, because it's not an event. Never mind. I'm sad. I'm sad by that.
Does it? It does. It should get the discount from Bib Fortuna, though, right?
No, I don't think it does with Bib either.
Oh, okay.
Let me look it up. We'll look up Bib Fortuna. Maybe we'll look up Bib.
Yeah, because if it is, I mean, that's going to be so strong. I mean, just even without the bonus from like Bib Fortuna or Jabba, just having this in yellow, I mean, this I could see this as a staple already in Boba decks.
Yeah. So nope, it does not get it doesn't get anything with Bib, because Bib is an event and this
Okay.
is an upgrade.
Nice.
And I would guess the same as with Jabba, because
Okay,
Jabba
yeah.
is it's trick events, and this is not an event. So I don't know why it says trick on it. I don't know. I do agree with you though. I actually think this is a really good card. And I think this combos well with a lot of things. Like, I don't think it has to just be Boba. And you could play this in space or in ground. So I think this is a really good card for a 2 cost. Because you just can't attack it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it just stays on there until you figure out a way to either waylay it out or just confiscate it and destroy it. So,
yeah, not the most end of be all things, but it is. I still think it's pretty good, and it is going to give you another way to be a nuisance to your opponent. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, we are definitely at time. Thank you all for joining us. It was a pleasure tonight. We got to break down some stuff. We got to talk a little bit about meta. We got to talk about spoilers. So there it is. I don't know. I don't know what we'll do next week. We're going to do spoilers next week, of course, but I don't know what else we'll do. So I think that's the kind of the big thing, is to find out kind of what we get this week, and if there's something cool. We should be pretty close to be able to start building decks too.
Yeah.
I think that's a thing that is going to come up. I have a Maul deck already built, so I can't try it out yet, but I do have a Maul deck built. So
Nice.
That will be obviously the first deck we ever built. But with that being said, thank you all. Have a good night. We are here. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on the podcast catcher, if you want to catch us live, we are live on Twitch. You're welcome to come interact with us. We happily interact with people in the chat. Unless you're trolling us, then we don't, like Greg. But other than that, we happily interact with people in the chat if they want to. we find it fun. That's how we record everything with live stuff for the most part, except for deck tech type stuff. Thank you all. I have a deck tech that I started. I just haven't finished it yet. I have a deck tech. I promise I'll get a deck tech out this week. If you're listening to this and you like our X-Wing content, we also have an X-Wing episode coming out this week where we talk a little bit about lists and different things from the XWA. So I don't know. Let us know. Have a good night, and we'll see you on the Flippity Flop.
Have a good night, everybody.